What made an army divisional general, tasked with ensuring justice in the armed forces, choose to attend a declaration of martial law instead of a compensation meeting for Jungkook, one of South Korea's biggest celebrities who was bullied during his military service? This decision sparked a heated debate among the public, creating a wave of criticism of the transparency and priorities of the South Korean military. This news stems from an important meeting planned at South Korea's military headquarters. The agenda of the meeting was to discuss compensation and recovery measures for victims of conscription abuse, including Jungkook. However, to the surprise of many, the divisional general who led the unit where Jungkook served was absent from the meeting and preferred to attend the declaration of martial law elsewhere. This incident immediately spread to the media and became a spotlight. The public questioned the reasons behind the decision. Why would a high-ranking official who was supposed to be the protector of his soldiers even rule out such a serious issue as bullying? Does this indicate that the issue of justice for victims, although it has become a national concern, is still underestimated in the military sphere? For Jungkook's fans and the general public, it's not just the absence of a general. It is a symbol of the indifference of the system towards the individual who is the victim. This incident also raises a bigger question. Does the South Korean military really care about the welfare of its soldiers, or is it just busy maintaining its image and political stability? Jungkook, who was previously honored for his courage to serve in the military despite his status as a global superstar, is now the face of those harmed by the system. He was not just a victim of bullying. He became a symbol for hundreds, if not thousands, of other soldiers who might have gone through something similar without ever receiving public attention. This disappointment with the division general's decision created a wave of uproar, not only in South Korea but also internationally. What should have been a moment to demonstrate the military's commitment to justice turned into a controversy that shook public confidence. The divisional general's decision to attend the declaration of martial law instead of a compensation meeting for victims of bullying, including Jungkook, was the subject of heated debate. The military said the emergency declaration was an important step in responding to emerging security threats at the border, but many doubted why. Is this really an emergency measure, or is it just an attempt to evade responsibility for a case that has come to the attention of the public? A number of experts and activists highlighted that the timing of the emergency declaration coinciding with this important meeting was too fortuitous to ignore. In addition, critics note that previous similar cases were often treated in the same way by delaying or weakening attempts at resolution. This is not the first time we have seen questionable priorities from the South Korean military. Issues involving justice for individuals are often sacrificed for the sake of political image or agenda. The emergency declaration mentioned by the military is reportedly related to increased activity at the border. However, some anonymous sources from within the military said that the level of the threat was actually not very urgent. In fact, an official who declined to be named stated that the meeting was more of a formality than a strategic action. Many observers argue that the military should be more transparent in making decisions that affect public trust. The absence of divisional generals at compensation meetings reinforces the notion that the military prioritizes the institutional agenda over justice for its soldiers. This decision shows a lack of empathy and responsibility on the part of those who should be leading. Jungkook may be a big celebrity, but this case surpasses him. This is a systemic problem, and the general's absence at the meeting sends the wrong message to other victims. The public remains divided. On the one hand, there are those who understand that national security is a top priority for the military. On the other hand, many felt that compensatory meetings should not be ignored, given their far-reaching impact on public trust and soldier morale. It's not about choosing one of two priorities. The military has enough resources to deal with these two issues in parallel. The choice to waive justice for victims like Jungkook reflects a failure of management, said a columnist in Korea. Jungkook's fans, known as ARMY, were deeply disappointed by this decision. Hashtags such as #Justice for Jungkook and #Military Accountability instantly topped social media trends, with millions of fans from around the world calling for justice for Jungkook. I can't believe this is happening. How could a culture hero like Jungkook be treated like this by his own country? Is this how they value their contribution to South Korea on the global scene? Wrote a fan on Twitter. The South Korean military, which is usually very secretive, found itself in a difficult situation. The leaked video of bullying against Jungkook and his friends has not only been a disgrace, but has also given rise to serious demands for systemic reform. Despite initially trying to de-escalate the situation with a brief statement that an investigation is ongoing, public pressure left them with no choice but to act more decisively. A special meeting was held to discuss compensation measures for victims, as well as finding solutions to stop this bullying culture. However, the meeting added a new layer to the controversy, as General Jungkook's absence from the military was in the spotlight. For the victims, including Jungkook, this video brings mixed feelings. On the one hand, the footage became irrefutable evidence of what they experienced. But on the other hand, the publication of this video also exacerbated their trauma. Many have questioned how the video came to be leaked. Was it an accidental leak? Or was there someone in the military who wanted to expose the matter? I don't know if I should feel relieved that people finally found out, or even more devastated to have to remember all that again. One of the victims, who was not named, said in an anonymous interview with local media. The video, while creating a wave of support for the victims, also weighed on Jungkook, who, as someone who has experienced such violence, publicly hopes he becomes a symbol of resistance to the toxic culture in the military. However, the general's absence at an important meeting only fueled speculation and disappointment. What really happened to the general? Why does he seem to shy away from responsibility? The divisional general's decision to attend the declaration of martial law and miss the compensation meeting for Jungkook, a victim of conscription abuse, raised a big question among the public. Does the military prioritize political interests over justice for its soldiers? Criticism came from all corners, from opposition politicians to human rights advocacy groups. They allege that the general's actions reflect the military's tendency to prioritize a political agenda or institutional image, while pressing issues involving the welfare of individual soldiers are ignored. Even so, conservatives offered their defense of the military's decision. They argue that the emergency declaration is a strategic move that cannot be delayed, given the growing security threats from other countries. National security is a top priority. Without security, there is no state, and without a state, nothing can be fought for, including justice for individuals, said a former top military official. However, this argument does not fully convince the public, who feel that both issues, national security and justice for victims, can be addressed simultaneously if there is a clear commitment. This case has become more than just a bullying problem. This is a test for the South Korean military to show whether it really cares about the welfare of its soldiers or is just busy guarding its political interests and institutional image. If this issue is not handled properly, the impact can be widespread. Public confidence in military institutions, already shaken by previous bullying scandals, could collapse completely. For many, the answer will determine the direction of military reform going forward. If the military continues to ignore issues such as bullying, it is not impossible for Jungkook's case to be a turning point that triggers a wave of profound change. However, if this step only ends up as a discourse without concrete action, then the next victim is only a matter of time. This controversy is not just about a general or a soldier. It is a reflection of the priorities, values, and commitment of the military institution to its justice and social responsibility. Will Jungkook finally get justice? Will this controversial decision of the general of the division have an impact on his career in the military? Or will this case be the beginning of a major change in South Korea's military system? The answer, we still have to wait.